All right, guys, we're back with another video. Updates on the day. I think I've done it. I've just what I've accomplished and figured out tonight is so fun. It's so busted. I don't even know at this point what they can nerf with this build. Every single facet of the build is so strong. Um, so I'm going to show you guys some stuff. I'm going to use clips that I was recording because I'm too lazy to download Premiere and like do this professionally. So I'm going to show you guys what I was going through. So one of the things I was doing earlier tonight was I was farming this goober a bit, this boss, the Uber Pinnacle boss for the expedition. Now, the reason I was farming this boss is he has a low chance to drop a unique healing flask that sells quite a bit in the market. So I had been killing him a bunch and trying to get these flasks. And when I get them, I sell them. And I use the currency from that to keep some runs going. So watch what happens when I'm doing this. Now, this is a showcase example. I'm not trying to show you how stupid this is on single target. Everybody already knows that by now. But watch what happens to my mana, right? So when you're proccing with this, your mana drains really, really quickly. It's like crazy how fast it can go. Now, the reason this is important, and I'm showing you this, is because the problem I'd been having was I wanted to solve my mana issues. Uh, I really don't like it because when this happens, you have to like break off and do a little dancing. Normally, luckily, I pushed him on the face here, so I was able to kind of re-top off with meditate, do my thing, get my mana. This was actually a bit of a hairy attempt right here. I'll show you what I did here. I get greedy sometimes, like I just push thinking I'm gonna get him. So like I push him right here, but his little thing is like coming at me, and he almost killed me there. I got the meditate off at the end, but that was a close one. So I was trying to figure out what am I gonna do about the mana issues. And then when I was browsing the website tonight, I noticed this little guy right here. It said, effect is not removed when unreserved mana is filled. By the way, this comes from the delirium event, which is a very challenging event. I've completed it. We'll talk about that in a second. But the effect says, effect is not removed when unreserved mana is filled. 200 to 250% increased duration. Every 3 seconds during effect, deal 50% of mana spent in those seconds as chaos damage to enemies within 3 meters. Recover all mana when used. Deal 25% of current mana as chaos damage to you when the effect ends. Now, the reason this thing is so busted in this build, in the chaos immune 1 HP build, is first of all, this effect right here doesn't do anything to us. We're immune to chaos damage. You can pretty much just wipe that right off of the list of things that this would normally do to us. What I was interested in was, does the recover all mana when used work the way I would want it to? I assumed it does, right? The wording on that seems pretty straightforward, but you know how these games go. Sometimes you'll see something and then you'll go and you'll try it and it doesn't do what you want it to do. So, started farming delirium vent. I was doing pretty good. This thing can be really frustrating. I had to modify my build a little bit. This was what I was doing. Really what this boils down to with this spec when you're farming it, for I know this is overtuned and people complaining about it, but we can beat it with the build that I've been using. You really, really, really have to just go all in on the bell. The goal is get your bells down, let your bells like hold and save you. You're looking for that while you're in your bell casting it. It's like a safe space and they can't really do anything to you. So the bell's a big part of it. You're just sitting in the middle of the bell doing that, whatever. It gets really hard though, like really, really hard. Like this is 10. Let's go a little further up. Where's the 15? So this was a run. This is 11. Now we still got a ways to go. Hold on. This run was going pretty good. I thought this was, by the way, this isn't tier 1. This is tier 3. I'd already completed tiers 1 and tier 2. I was trying to push a little higher to try to get some more of the Atlas points. So what you're looking at here is actually a tier 3 of the delirium event. So it's a little more challenging than the first 2 tiers. Going good. Everything's going fine. And then where's when it gets hairy? There's a point here where it starts to get hairy. Which wave is this? What am I waiting on? What am I doing? It's a 13. That was fine. That was the 14. This one's a little hairy at times, but we get it. I kind of like putting myself in a corner pocket and then just one of the key things is knowing where the bosses are going to spawn to. If you can get, you got to get on top of them fast. You have to kill him before he really gets his perpetual spells going, because once he fills the board with those things, you're screwed. Like the screen will just be covered in this bullshit. And then this is where everything goes wrong. Now I've rewatched this to see where I fucked up. I definitely could have played this better. The monsters remove charges on hit is brutal because it's hard to keep your charge staff up. What ends up happening here is I get pushed away from my bell at one point. So that's a slowing bubble right there. I put a slow thing on. I don't even know if it works. I put a slow thing on my belt to try to help with that. But right here, I'm doing okay. I got okay life. I'm trying to juggle it. But right here, they push me away from the bell. So I place another bell towards the direction of where they're pushing me. But I don't have my charge stuff up because they're eating all my fucking charges. The boss comes, I'm just chutney. It gets really, really hard at this phase. Like, it's no joke. But yeah, so that sucked. But then I came back with a full heart, tried again on a hard difficulty. Was doing the same thing here, and then as you'll see, this goes much smoother. So I start this way, 15 off. It's again, you really. So what I made changes in this version. So what you're seeing now is I got rid of the gem that was causing the AoE to be smaller. I got rid of that for this build. I took the 25% movement speed off of the fissure attack and put it back on my single target. I should have been doing this the whole time. Since I'm not using that ability in this version, I changed my loadout specifically for this. I wanted as fast attacks as possible with the biggest bell possible. And as you can see, it's really, really effective. The enemies are spawning. I'm living inside my safe space. They had no chance. And then sure enough, there it is on this attempt, which I believe was my third clear. I got lucky. I don't know what the percent drop on this is. There's only 5 of these in the trade market at the time of posting these videos, so it's incredibly rare. But I got the melting Maelstrom. Now, if you're wondering, okay, well, does it work the way you were hoping it works? Let me show you an update on what we did to this boss. Now, this is a tier, the highest possible tier of difficulty for the Pinnacle boss. So I have the maximum amount of Atlas points at this point. I wanted to see how difficult the tier 4 was. I had already killed the previous tier. I don't actually know if it makes a difference. I assume it does, because when you put the final points in, it does say another +1 difficulty. So this was me experimenting with the new build to see if the DPS and the mana was going to work the way it was. Now, he has a very difficult mechanic with the meteor. So the goal here is to now watch my mana. Watch it out. I step forward here. I'll explain why. Watch my mana. Boof, mana's back to full. It works exactly like I wanted to. The goal is to push this phase before he casts the meteors, so you don't have to worry about the one-shot mechanic. You can completely bypass it if you can DPS him at his first attack enough to push phase. And then right here, knowing he's in this, every time I saw these animations, I knew I was safe. Pop, there goes my mana. All I had to do was finish it, and the job was done. Boom. Got him on the hardest difficulty. I even show the passive points here in a second to prove it. There's that. He dropped a Regalia. It was actually a pretty good roll. I think I sold this one for 6 or 7 divine. It was a not the perfect roll, but it had the attributes of the maximum life. So obviously attributes and the resist all is like the chase. That's the one people want. I was like talking to people in Discord and I clicked the same stuff to pick it up like 3 times here, disregard. But then right here I show just to prove that was the maximum difficulty with the full Paragon points in on the boss. So all in all, this works. The main change, of course, is just how ridiculous this thing is. It allows you to go back to full mana instantly. It's an in-game farm. It's obviously hard to get, but man, when you get this thing, it is an absolute powerhouse. Only other changes I've made from the previous video was I've been getting really greedy with jewel slots. I took this one and I took this one. I really like just having jewel slots. I also grabbed a second charm slot right here. I figured we were riding right by here. Why not grab a second charm slot if I can get it? Right now, what I've been doing is I have one for being frozen and one for being stunned. Even with the jewels that I've been putting on with stun threshold from your shield, I still find that I'm getting stunned more than I would like to be. So I put this on to assist with that, and it really has been helping. I tried with the slow charm for the temporal bubbles. It didn't really seem to be working. I don't really know what's going on with that, but I got to revisit that some more. So yeah, things are going good. Reaching a point now where I think I've kind of accomplished all the major milestones I wanted with the game. Obviously, this build is just completely busted. I think it is possibly the most powerful in the game with the amount of survivability, being able to overclock your shield twice using this. My 2 previous videos pretty much cover everything. So if you're curious why we're doing 1 HP with the shield, you can watch my first video. If you're curious about the combo with this gear and how this all works, you can watch the second video. We showcase most of that. This was mostly just an update talking about how absolutely busted this item is if you can farm for it. It's currently like 60, 70 divine in the market. It's very difficult. The hardest part is the divine charms. I have one last thing I'm working on that I want to do before I take a break and actually go back and touch grass. And there's a jewel that I want to mess around with that says the last boss drops it and it says your blue corrupted jewels do double effect when they're socketed. So I've been slowly working on building a little collection of these corrupted jewels, and I plan on playing around with this and socketing these in because I think they're kind of busted. But all this is going to do is make a very powerful build even more powerful. I think the final thing I need to do is the I've pretty much accomplished everything at this point on the tree, other than the full points in this. Um, oh, I should mention when I beat that one and actually got the flask, I turned it down a level. I was trying to complete the +1, +2 difficulty, so technically it was a tier 3 or whatever. In order to just get it and get my flask, I took 2 points back out just to turn it down one more difficulty to guarantee that I could get the kill because I really wanted the flask. I think this is the last piece of the puzzle for me, is to complete the 8 out of 8 on this, and then I'm pretty much done. I've killed all the other Pinnacle bosses fully with this build. Just absolutely shit pumping them. It's pretty fun though. I mean, I still enjoy farming maps. It's therapeutic. There's just the fun of just running around one-shotting everything with this spell and with the crazy. It's just something fun about watching a 7 attacks per second. But yeah, this video is mostly just to show you guys that this thing is absolutely insane. If you're having mana issues on single target, trying to play any variation of this build because your cast on shock frost orbs are draining your mana quickly, try to get this item. It's ridiculous. It solves the problem, and you don't have to worry about the chaos damage because we're chaos immune. So that's it for this video. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Have a good night.